Okay, so starting now, I'm sure others will join as we continue. Once again, welcome to today's webinar, which is themed Next Generation Cybersecurity and how you can protect your business from emerging threats. I'm Tolu Lope, a customer excellence strategist here at Reliance, and I'll be your moderator through the entire session. And before we continue, I'd like to intimate you with some of our housekeeping rules. So we have the presentation being recorded and it will be made available based on demand afterward. So for this purpose, we have attendees muted, videos are also turned off just to reduce the interference. But we do want you to interact, to engage, to ask questions in the chat window. So I'm hoping to get comments in the chat window shortly. And then for our lineup speakers, we have Udeme. Udeme is a success outcome strategist at Reliance. She'll basically introduce who we are and what we are doing to secure and support modern businesses. Then Zibo, who is a cybersecurity expert who will facilitate the session alongside Sandra Uko. Sandra Uko is the Vice President for Infrastructure, Security, Data Center, and Endpoint Transformation. So it's really going to be an exciting ride all through. And then to provide context on what to expect, after the introductions, we'll move on to look at the current cybersecurity landscape, what is changing, what are some of the evolving threats that you should be aware of as a business. Then we'll move on to understand what is next generation cybersecurity in terms of the solutions, the best practices. And then finally, we have the questions and answer. And of course, we'd also look into how you can take advantage of these solutions to secure your organization. Then, because we want you to take that very first step, we have an exclusive offer for everyone who is on this webinar this morning. And the offer is that you get to book an organization-wide training, that's a cybersecurity awareness training for all your employees, not just the IT cybersecurity experts. So everyone on your team can join us on this call, and we have a look at all the next generation strategies in terms of cybersecurity and how they can know the best practices to secure your data, your digital assets as well. So all you have to do is to click on the booking link that will be dropped in the chat window very shortly. And then we get to have that engagement with your stakeholders and employees. So at this point, I'll hand over to my colleague, Udeme, to take it up from here. Hi, Udeme.
Hi, Tolu. Hi, good morning, everyone. So very briefly, I'm going to walk you through Reliance Infosystems, who we are and what we represent. And then for us as an organization, Reliance Infosystems is an award-winning ICT organization with over 10 physical locations in other countries of the world and over 50 digital footprints in other countries of the world as well. And for us as an organization, we run with a single vision of reinventing the world. And this we do by giving you cutting-edge technological solutions that will help you meet your set business goals. And we do this by creating enduring partnerships with you and aligning our success strategies with your aligning our success strategies with your corporate objective. Then also for us as an organization, remember I said we are a group and we are global, and we exist in other regions of the world, talking about South Africa, talking about the UK, Pakistan, UAE, Ghana, Kenya, Botswana, Nigeria, which is where the head office is. And for us also, we have our sister companies. We're looking at Cloudware Ghana, we're looking at Reliance Data Tech in Kenya. We're also looking at Reliance Infosystems in Nigeria, Digitank Africa, and the like. So basically for us also as an organization, due to our expertise, due to our competencies, we've been able to garner a couple of awards to our names over the years. And for us, we've been announced as Microsoft's 3 times consecutive Partner of the Year award winners, and also Sophos's 9 times Partner of the Year award winners, as well as other numerous awards that is too numerous for us to mention. And for us as well as an organization, we have our success outcome philosophy, which is built around winning with customers. And that's why sometimes we find it very awkward to address you as our customer, but rather as our partner, because we know that the success of your business is actually our own success. Looking at how far we've gone, in the field of service delivery, in experience, also in competencies and expertise, Microsoft has been able to attest to all of these when it comes to Reliance Infosystems in the areas of infrastructure, data and AI, digital and app innovation, modern work, security, business application, Microsoft Cloud as well. And also in these areas, Reliance Infosystems is highly specialized, has a team full of highly specialized engineers that will walk you through, that will guide you through the digital transformation journey, especially when it comes to areas around low-code application development, adoption and change management, cloud security, and so much more other solution areas. And also we run with 3 business pillars, success pillars, which is centered around business transformation, operational excellence, and protection assurance. And for us in business transformation, we seek to, give you solutions, dive into solution areas that can help digitally transform your organization. Not just that, improve efficiency and maximize productivity for all your employees. This means that with this solution, your employees are able to perform, you're able to track performances, and also have a 360-degree view of what is going on in terms of what your employees are doing as well. And these are also areas, solution areas where you can get it at, you get this solution at a very cheaper cost, when it comes to, based on our partnership with Microsoft. I'd like to announce that because going through our routes, going through Reliance Infosystems, you stand a chance to get a very cheap cost of this solution. And basically, for us as well, looking at the operational excellence, we try to give you solutions that help reimagine the way you carry out your business processes. And also we have several solution areas embedded within this pillar, looking at modern ERP solution, customer engagement solutions, RPAs, digital advisory as well. And looking at the last, which is the protection assurance bit of it, we are also looking to we're also looking at solution areas that can help ensure that you stay secured and that you're secured, your organization is secured, let me put it that way, and also gives you what we call rest of mind as a service. Now we're looking at solutions that speaks to endpoint protection, gateway protection. We're looking at advanced threat protection, penetration testing, vulnerability assessments, and all of that, which are things that are being carried out by Reliance Infosystems team. So basically, before I hand over to my colleague Zibo, there will be a poll question which will be dropped in the chat box. So I would like you to look into those questions and would like to get to know your thoughts on those questions as well. So thank you very much as I hand over to my colleague who will be taking us into the next segment of this webinar. Zibo, please.
Thank you very much, Udeme. Good morning, everyone. And I'd like to thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us on our webinar. And to start us off, we'll be talking about how traditional threats have actually developed and become the threats that are facing currently in the current threat landscape. And the first difference that I'd like to expound upon is the difference in terms of complexity of the types of attacks we used to face in the past and the attacks that we're facing right now. Because you'd find that back in the past, the attacks weren't really that complex or sophisticated, but now hackers are actually leveraging numerous types of technologies such as machine learning and AI to ensure that their attacks are more wide-reaching as well as more complex. And we're also facing issues in terms of malware. As you remember that before, malware was pretty simple. It was just a virus that just infected your computer. But now we're seeing numerous types of complicated and sophisticated malware, such as the likes of Stuxnet, which are very, very targeted to specific organizations. So instead of having to target numerous types of targets, you are now targeting a specific organization. And we're also facing numerous issues in terms of how distributed denial of service has actually changed and is now being carried out. Before, DDoS or denial of service attacks were just really targeted towards bringing down a specific website or service, right? And you'd find that it's just one website and it doesn't really have that large of an impact. But now we're seeing that numerous DDoS attacks can actually target huge service providers who provide numerous services to a large amount of people in different geographic locations. And we've seen this in the DIN DDoS attack. And DIN is a DNS, domain name services provider. And it was actually taken down back in an attack in 2016. And this led to a huge outage in numerous internet outage, that is, in numerous areas across the world, especially in Europe and East Asia. And we're also finding the proliferation of ransomware, which I know pre-2016, before WannaCry, wasn't really a thing. But now we're seeing the proliferation of it, and as well as the rise in complexity of ransomware. And we're also seeing a huge difference in terms of social engineering. Back in the past, social engineering attacks you typically used to just focus on human error or mistakes and take advantage of that. But now we're seeing all of these threat actors utilizing social engineering with more complex methods, such as psychological manipulation. And those are some of the things that organizations need to be cognizant of and ensure that they can actually protect themselves against. And we also have the proliferation of numerous endpoint devices, because now we're using tablets, phones, and all of that throughout our daily lives. And that actually brings about a new vulnerability in terms of our digital landscape. And next, we'll be talking about the emerging cyber threats. And I know that this is something that pretty much everyone is going to be very excited about. And the emerging cyber threats that we're facing in today's age are numerous. But I dare say the number one threat that we're actually facing right now is in terms of the skills shortage. And the skills shortage in terms of the types of skills that cybersecurity personnel need. So you know that not everyone can actually carry out activities within the cyber realm. So you need to have trained professionals who can actually protect your organization against numerous types of threats, utilizing all the advanced different types of technologies. But since there's a shortage of those types of individuals, organizations are actually facing the threat of having a lot of attacks, but not enough people to protect them. And that in itself is a huge, huge, huge threat that organizations need to be cognizant of. And we also have AI. And I know that AI is a huge thing right now, especially with the use of Google Bard and ChatGPT. And although we do use artificial intelligence for good, there are numerous threat actors who actually use it for nefarious means. And artificial intelligence is actually quite a useful tool in carrying out numerous attacks, as cyber threat actors actually utilize it or leverage on it to create more complex and complicated attacks, and also pinpoint weaknesses within an organization's cybersecurity infrastructure, which they can take advantage of. And we also have something called supply chain attacks. And these are actually quite new, because previously you'd find that just a single organization was targeted within an attack. You'd find that, oh, there was only just a single victim. But with supply chain attacks, these threat actors actually target your software vendors and actually utilize or insert malicious code into those products, which will then be used downstream by numerous organizations. And we've actually seen this back in 2020, where SolarWinds Orion software, and SolarWinds is an IT management software provider, was actually compromised. there was malicious code inserted into the software, and this software was actually utilized by numerous organizations, including the US State Department of Defense. And malicious actors were actually able to infect those networks of all the organizations utilizing that software. And hence, that's a huge security risk which organizations need to be cognizant of. And it's quite an interesting one. And we all, as I've already mentioned about artificial intelligence abuse and how it can actually be used as a tool for evil, we're actually dealing with the deep fakes that we're facing right now. And I think this was seen a lot back in the US elections back when Donald Trump was campaigning to be president, where we're seeing a lot of fake news, a lot of fake audios and videos, which were actually not authentic. They were just created utilizing artificial intelligence as well as numerous types of software tools to make it seem like somebody said something they didn't actually ever say, or do something or did something that they actually never did. And that's also something that we need to be cognizant of. And aside from that, the last cherry on top in terms of this slide is that although we can use numerous types of tools and the likes to actually help protect our organizations from all these threats, the weakest link is always the person. If your employees are not very well versed in terms of the different types of steps they should take in terms of being hygiene on the cyberspace, being hygienic on the cyberspace, and being able to protect themselves, they won't actually be able to ensure that your organization is secure, as all of those tools will then be able to be circumvented through the individual. And that's where the need for numerous types of cybersecurity trainings actually comes in. So, you have to train your employees, everyone who actually has access to your organization's resources, to know that there are certain things you must do in order to ensure that you're safe, the organization's data is safe, and business continues as normal. And in regards to that, we'll be dropping a poll question right now, which will be talking about whether or not it's important for your organization to actually carry out these types of cybersecurity awareness trainings. So please do take your time out and answer that. And moving on to the next slide, we'll be talking about next generation cybersecurity. And I know that this is the section that everyone is excited about. And on this section, we'll be talking about what next generation cybersecurity is, as well as the need for an organization to actually adopt it. And basically, next-gen cybersecurity just refers to the numerous types of technologies, innovative methods that you can use to protect yourself and your organization against the ever-changing types of threats we're facing on the cybersecurity landscape. And by taking advantage of these next-generation security solutions and tools and approaches, you can actually create a more robust protection for your organization. And the reason why organizations actually do need to care about next generation cybersecurity is due to the mere fact that our reliance on technology has actually grown by huge amounts, as we're now utilizing technology in every sphere of our existence, from being at home, utilizing your smartphone, your smart TV, even your smart nanny camera to look at your child, to at work, where we're utilizing numerous types of technologies, endpoints, and the likes. And because of that increasing reliance on technology, that basically means hackers actually have a larger attack space to take advantage of. And this means that we have a whole lot more to protect as well. And due to the mere fact that cybersecurity threats are always advancing, we're living in an age where just the year before last, no one knew what ChatGPT or any type of AI was. It was just something we saw in the movies. But look at us now. People are utilizing AI to make reports, to create songs, to create images and the likes, So due to that fact, that it means that organizations also need their protection mechanisms to be evolving at such a rate. And due to that, we're also facing a huge influx in the amount of data that organizations are actually creating. And that means that our organizations have to also protect all of that data. As we know that data in this day and age is the most precious is the most precious asset of an organization. And organizations handle huge amounts of sensitive information as well as intellectual property that needs to be protected. And we also have to deal with regulatory compliance, as we're seeing a lot of countries actually putting into law the numerous types of, we're seeing organizations putting into law the numerous types of data protection acts. And this includes the Nigerian Data Protection Act that we saw enacted just a few months ago, as well as the Data Protection Act here in Botswana, in order to protect all of the citizens' personal information and ensure that citizens actually are cognizant of how their information is being used and whether or not they are consenting to how it's being used. And speaking of all of that data, we know that we actually also have to deal with the possibility of a data breach when we have all of that important data within our infrastructure. And this is also very important, as research has shown that the cost of a data breach has actually risen from just a few $100,000 a few years ago to over $3.8 million, just so your organization can cover the costs and the legal fees or the legal ramifications which are associated with a huge data breach. And that's a lot of money. And I know that no organization wants to fork that out over something that could have been prevented. And another reason why organizations should care about next-gen cybersecurity is that it can help ensure business continuity within your organization, especially with the fact that numerous types of cybersecurity attacks, such as your ransomware and your DDoS, are targeted at putting an organization's services out of reach from the people who want to use it most. And this is very important as if you're out and down, you're not able to provide services to your clients, that means you're not achieving your business goals and you're not making money. And I know that no organization wants to not be making money. And next, we'll go on our next slide, speaking about the specific technologies that we can actually use to protect ourselves from these next generation cyber threats. And the first one I'd like to talk about is AI-powered threat detection and prevention. And this is very important, as I've already mentioned, that AI can be used for good and for evil, but now we're doing it for good in terms of utilizing its advanced computational capabilities and machine learning algorithms to actually help us detect and predict numerous types of possible threats that are occurring within our landscape of our organization or could be occurring. And this is especially important as artificial intelligence can actually carry this out in real time and ensure that your efficiency in terms of actually getting back or remediating those types of threats is actually shorter. And that means that you'd actually be able to prevent those types of threats from damaging your systems to a large extent. And we also have to talk about cloud security posture management solutions. And this is very important as organizations are moving towards the cloud. They're migrating a whole lot of workloads to the cloud and also keeping some on premises. And that basically means that you now have a larger attack surface to worry about. And this is where cloud security posture management solutions come in place, as they can actually help organizations pinpoint any weaknesses within their cloud infrastructure, whether it's configured securely or not, and also ensure that organizations actually are compliant with any regulatory compliance reasons that they actually have to be compliant with. And all of this is so that organizations can minimize the possibility of a data breach. And we also have to talk about zero trust security. And this is basically abiding by the old adage of trust no one, verify everything. And this ensures that your organization can actually secure its asset, as it ensures that no one has access to anything that they're not supposed to have access to, and all access is verified. And there are numerous methods that can actually be used to carry this out, such as the likes of your MFA, as well as your microsegmentation. And we also have to talk about extended detection and response solutions. And these are targeted towards your endpoints and servers. And these are actually monitoring solutions, which are actually focused on responding to threats at the endpoint level. and they provide real-time visibility into whatever is occurring within your endpoint device and ensures that you have the capability of actually responding to that in real time. And we also have to talk about the numerous threat intelligence platforms. And they're very important as they scour the internet for huge amounts of data and analyze all of that data in regards to spotting potential threats. And these include the likes of your malware signatures, as well as known and possible malicious IP addresses, which are known to have been used in numerous attacks beforehand. And hence they can actually, all of that data can actually help organizations to identify and block threats before they reach your systems or they breach your network. And we also have to talk about security, orchestration, automation, and response solutions. And this is important as organizations often have numerous types of security systems or security tools in place to protect themselves and their employees. But unfortunately, you'd find that they're disjointed. So one solution has its own dashboard and another has its own other individual dashboard. And unfortunately, that means that your security staff can't view everything from a bird's eye perspective. And through the use of your source solutions, you can actually view everything in a single pane and ensure that you actually have visibility into what's occurring within your digital estate, and with the added benefit of actually being able to automatically respond to any of those threats which are occurring. And that will actually lessen the load off of your already tired IT department or security department. And just to top it all off, we'll also be dropping another poll question. And this one will be talking about whether or not you or anyone you know have actually utilized any AI platform such as ChatGPT or Google Bard. And I'll now be handing it over to my colleague, Sandra, who will be talking about the next generation cybersecurity solutions which are being offered by Sophos. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Zibo. Thank you, everyone, once again for staying with us so far all through the session. So I would be talking about the endpoint part of the cybersecurity, what we need to look out for when it comes to the protection of our endpoint devices. So before I proceed today, I would like to just call our attention to something very important. So we seldom make mistakes around cybersecurity tools and what to do and what not to do. So an instance is, imagine after making so much of investment on cybersecurity solution, investing on endpoint solution, on network solution, on zero trust network solutions. And at the end of the day, the users that are going to be using those solutions are not sensitized. They are not aware of the current threat, the trending threats, and how well to stay safe while using all of those AI tools. So pretty much for a business and as an individual, it's very good and very safe to consider a constant cybersecurity awareness training, or such that you maybe organize it quarterly for the people. So that way they are enlightened and they understand the investment the business has made so far in putting up all of those tools for productivity's sake. So we'll be moving on to the Sophos Intercept text with XDR. So you might be wondering what this is. It could be strange to some of us and it might not be strange to a number of us as well. So Sophos Intercept Text Advanced with XDR actually is an endpoint security solution, which is like a next-gen solution when it comes to cybersecurity. So we know that the world of cybersecurity is evolving and new things keep coming on. Things ride on artificial intelligence, machine learning, behavioral analysis. And of course, IoT devices are also coming in. We can also see ChatGPT and Google Bard and every other examples as stated earlier. So pretty much we need to get a well-secured platform. We need to get a good endpoint solution that gives us guarantee and like a rest of mind, such that even when we are not looking, even when we think we're missing out something, the endpoint solution is in fact doing what we were supposed to do. So with the Sophos Intercept Text with XDR, so Sophos Intercept Text pretty much has this feature called the Crypto Guard, whereby it helps to ensure that all the documents, all your registry keys, all your files, everything at all on your machine stays safe as it is. So should there be any form of malicious activity which is going to be ongoing, or maybe something, a pre-attack or something, pre-execution state. The endpoint solution is very intelligent enough and intuitive enough to be able to stop all of those malicious activities, and not just stopping it. Should there be a change, probably in the registry, before that was noticed, the registry key is then rolled back and everything becomes normal as though nothing happened. But the beautiful thing is you get the logs, the reports and alerts on all of these things that happen accordingly with a timestamp. So you can as well carry out forensics in your own leisure time, carry out forensics and check out all of those things. And should you also think that could have been spread across the network, you could also carry out search and run cross-estate search across your devices. So Sophos Intercept Text with XDR is a tool that helps to deny hackers. We know pretty much as there are pros on every AI tools we use, there are also cons as to using them. So for our endpoint devices, users, we do a lot of things, a lot of activities on our devices, even our mobile devices and our laptop devices. We find ourselves surfing the internet and doing so many things. So at the point of surfing, we could have provided sensitive information or probably done something, make some changes that we're not supposed to make, even on the browser end. So what happened in that case? We are open, we are vulnerable to hackers. So with this endpoint solution, we are sure that on the web level, on the website level, the application level, the system level, everything you can think of, it is safe to combat whatever threat it is that you might not know, or known, of course, and known threats. And a lot of times too, we tend to forget something. Some threats that are very previous to businesses are the insider threats, if you agree with me. Insider threats could be voluntary, it could be involuntary, such that a disgruntled employee can actually voluntarily carry out a threat that is going to affect the whole business entirely. And involuntarily, probably someone is just using the company data and carelessly using it or carelessly handling it. That could also be an involuntary way of passing out threats to the business. And Sophos Intercept Text is good enough to combat unknown threats. It doesn't just use the traditional means of the known threat, the known attack, like the Petya, the WannaCry. You can think of anything, the captors. No, it basically works across to ensure that even unknown threats, zero-day threats, are being detected at the point of its existence, even on that device that has the intercept text running. Then it also reduces the attack surface. So IT administrators, managers do not necessarily have to waste executive time into troubleshooting or trying to fix an attack when there's an endpoint solution to combat that. So it reduces that time. Then also block ransomware, like I mentioned, the CryptoGuard feature comes in play for that. Then it gives increased visibility. Like I mentioned, we see the alerts, we see the logs, we see the reports, and we get the timestamp for every activity that happens, even on our dashboard, or for all the devices that are onboarded to the Sophos Central portal. And I'd like to also mention Sophos Central is a cloud solution. So you might be wondering, do you have to set up a physical server? Do you need to have a data center to get this done? Oh, I work, majority of our applications are in cloud and we don't have things on premise. So how do I go about the setup? So you have nothing to worry about. It's a cloud solution, very intuitive. And when it comes to the evolution of cybersecurity, it keeps evolving. It's not stagnant. So you're sure that when you use a solution as Sophos, you're sure that you get updates severally to stay safe, even when it comes to threats in the cybersecurity space. Then it also hunts for threats. That's basically the main essence of making investments in security. If a security solution we are investing on cannot give us all of these features, then trust me, it is not something you even want to get at all. Because at the end of the day, the business run at loss when that investment goes in shackles and is not able to deliver what it is meant to deliver. And it also provides a cross-product visibility. So this comes in play when you have some existing I would say some existing endpoint solution, and you're wondering, yes, endpoint solutions do not work together. Like when you have two third-party applications like antiviruses, like we're used to, on a single device, it could slow down processes, it could do a lot of harm, it could cause a lot of harm to that particular machine. But with Sophos, you're sure to have that cross-product visibility such that you can integrate a component of the XDR with an existing endpoint security solution that you currently have. So in a way, it is beautiful to know that you don't have to throw out every of your investments that you already made, that you have already in your business. Rather, you can incorporate and integrate, automate this particular solution with your current existing infrastructure. So you don't have issues. You don't have to worry, oh, I need to spend so much to roll out this. I need to spend this. I need to spend that. It is well taken care of because you can integrate seamlessly with every other solutions that you currently have. So Sophos Cloud Optics is a platform that gives a secured protection over your cloud workload. So when I say cloud workload, you want to think AWS, you want to think GCP, you want to think Azure, Kubernetes, and every other multi-cloud or private cloud that you can think of. And you agree with me that now, since COVID-19, 2020, many businesses are still working from home. Not many people work from a physical location, just an office where everyone goes to. And we have many workloads that are being migrated to the cloud. So we also need to ensure that those workloads in cloud are protected. And I'd like to also give you, tell you this, that for every cloud workload that you invest in, the OEM, original equipment manufacturer, is not responsible for protecting and safeguarding your data and your resources, your information on the cloud. The only thing they are bothered about is giving you a secured platform to operate on, such that if you're running your services as an infrastructure, IaaS, infrastructure as a service, it protects your VM, your network, your everything you can think of that has to do with infrastructure as a service. Then when it comes to your platform, applications running on the cloud platform, you can also, that's PaaS, platform as a service. So you also do not get protection over your data that you are storing in there. They are only bothered about the platform, making it secure. And if it is software as a service as well, like Office 365 and the likes of them that were used to, Teams, OneDrive, it is also not going to give you protection over your data. Rather, it gives you protection over that platform you're working with. So it is your sole responsibility as an individual and as a business to ensure that the protection of your data and the protection of your application that you have hosted on cloud is protected and is secured. So with Cloud Optics, we are rest assured that we get intelligence over our cloud workloads. We monitor, we are able to manage, and we are able to see our security posture when it comes to compliance. So if we're not compliant at any point in time, we get the notification, we get to see advisories, we get to see the next step, what to do, and how to go about the fix. So pretty much it's like a very big umbrella that ensures that you stay safe, whether you're on premise or in cloud. So it provides security for both platforms, because many businesses still do the hybrid. So there has to be protection on both end, the on-premise and also the cloud. And also integrate seamlessly, like I mentioned, you don't have to put up any investment that you had before. It can integrate seamlessly with everything that you have. So you're rest assured that you're introducing a new solution, and the solution is not going to mean that you take out everything that you currently have, but rather it will integrate and automate seamlessly with what you currently have and your investments. So we'll be looking at the zero trust network access. As mentioned, zero trust does not trust anything. It assumes that I am compromised. It assumes that my device that I'm using to access data, resources, information is compromised. It assumes that my network is compromised. So it assumes that I am going to pose a threat to the business. It trusts me not, and it has to verify my access. It has to authorize me. Then I get authenticated into that particular platform if I request something. So for Sophos Zero Trust Network, you want to see it as a solution such that I'll say it gives you a more secure platform over the VPN. We are aware that VPN helps remote workers to work such that if I'm connected from a local site or from a site out of the office and I need to access an application or a data or resources from the network, once I put in my details on my VPN, I get access to the business and I'm able to see the server, see everything I want to do. But for the Zero Trust Network, it only gives implicit access. It doesn't give access to everything. That is where the micro-segmentation of applications comes in play. So for VPN, it gives you direct access to everything. You can do everything. But for Zero Trust Network, it only gives you access to that particular resources you want to gain an insight to. If, for example, you want to look at, I'll say an ERP solution that has the customer relation, that has the HR, that has the finance and every other thing. So assume I'm in the finance departments or units. I am not going to be getting access to the entire ERP solution. I'm just going to be getting access to that finance portfolio that I have been given permission to. And before I get access to it, Zero Trust Network would ensure that my identity is verified. I am who I say I am. I am able to authenticate severally as much as the setup is. If the policy is configured such that I need to authenticate 3 times, such that I use my password, I use 2 multi-factor authentication, I use my email address, get a code, then from there I use the Sophos Authenticator app or I use a Google app. So it all depends on what the business configures. So I need to also verify that I am who I say I am. Once Zero Trust Network sees that, okay, you are who you say you have permission to access these particular resources, then it also gives you access to that resource you're searching for, and you're verified, you get authenticated into that platform, and also stops ransomware and threats, which is very important. Once you have a solution that can ensure that all of those things you do are segmented, and it is sure that the attack rate will be reduced, because no one would have access to the entire umbrella, the entire bucket, rather have access to what they need at that point in time. Then it helps to deployment. Adoption is very, very, very seamless. Like I said, everything is basically a cloud solution. And when it comes to deploying the solution, you have no issues. It is intuitive. It is very easy and very seamless to use. Then it's cloud delivered and cloud managed, like I mentioned earlier. So we'll be talking about a few benefits of the next generation cybersecurity solution, which is Sophos that we're talking about right now. It gives an enhanced threat detection and prevention. With the XDR, you don't have to worry about detection. Sometimes not many businesses work on shifts whereby you have administrators work on shifts at night, in the morning. So sometimes you don't have visibility, you don't have control to everything that happens. For you to see something, maybe you need to log onto your dashboard. But with Sophos, it gives you that alert and reporting system top notch, whereby you can be in your home and you're getting an alert. And if it's something that you need to attend to almost immediately, then you can attend to it immediately, seamlessly, without issues, right from where you are in your home. Then increase visibility and control. So it gives us that visibility and control feature whereby we are able to configure our policies to suit the business. It is not rigid. So if for your business you are flexible enough to allow peripheral devices, of course you can have that. And if you need to allow some peripheral devices, for example, and you don't want to allow all, then you can specify which you want to allow and which you want to block. So it gives that visibility and flexibility when it comes to control permissions and policy configuration. Then improve integration and automation. This cannot be overemphasized. You are able to integrate with many other solutions. So I was going to also mention the real-time response. So such that you carry out a remediation and the system you're working on is not getting the report. It could only happen if that particular machine is not online to receive that change at that point in time. But I can tell you the response is in real time. If you carry out something, it takes effect immediately and it goes onto the machine once the machine is brought up online. So for cloud security as well, we mentioned the cloud optics that gives protection over that, and adaptive security. So it's a security that keeps evolving, it's a solution that keeps evolving. You don't just stay at one point. You're sure that even in the next 2 years, it keeps developing, not like it just stays stagnant and nothing new is done to it, nothing changes. So I also like to bring to our attention synchronized security. So synchronized security is like a feature in Sophos whereby you can integrate your network and your endpoint together. So for the network level, you have the firewall device, and for the endpoint level, you have the Sophos Intercept X Advanced with XDR, such that you can share intelligence and telemetry between the endpoints, between your cloud optics, between every solution that Sophos provides to us as a business and as individual. So pretty much it's a very good tool to think of. And we would also like to mention the Sophos Managed Detection and Response System, which is the MDR. So you want to think of MDR as an airplane. You have an airplane in a hangar and you have not flown that airplane once. It is just there. You just packed it up because you need a pilot, you need some cabin crew members, you need engineers to service it, you need things to be done on it. So imagine yourself alone looking at that airplane. You are not a pilot. Then how do you go about using that particular service? you then need to start employing people to be able to run that particular thing for you. You need to start making provision and making an arrangement to ensure that that particular airplane is being used and is not just forgotten and it rottens down even at the hangar. So pretty much, Sophos MDR gives us that rest of mind as a service, such that after investing in the Intercept X Advanced with the XDR, you also need to ensure that I would say a SOC team, yes, is very, very key, is very needed, because from statistic, most of the attack that happens normally happen off-peak hours. So when I say off-peak hours, it could be at close of business, it could be on weekends when people are not working shifts. So at that point in time, it means that if nobody is available, anything can happen on the network level, and it just goes like that. It goes undetected until it becomes a major threat, where you start seeing files are encrypted, a ransom is being requested, and stuffs. Different things like that. So a lot of times, businesses fail to understand that even after so much investment in security solution, we need to ensure that we have skilled employees, skilled personnel that would be able to manage that particular solution. So with the introduction of the MDR, we are sure that it covers the skilled resource gap issue, and it also helps to reduce alert fatigue. When alerts becomes too many, the noise is so much, and a lot of times administrators get to miss out on something that is very important and very key. And it's not their fault many of the times, because they have other tasks that they do. But imagine you have a dedicated staff, a dedicated person that works to ensure that the security part of the endpoints and the firewall is checked at every point in time 24/7. Then we see that the attack surface is reduced. Then time limitation, it kills out that factor as well. Time to respond to threats, time to fix an issue, time to troubleshoot, it reduces it. Then there's always a need of 24/7 coverage. When a business closes by 5 p.m., or by 6 p.m., by 7 p.m., 8 p.m., depending on your location, by 4 p.m., however it is your the business closes, we need to ensure that it doesn't just close out on security. There should be people working across board to ensure that on the part of the security, the data, the resources, the network, the endpoints stay secured at every point in time. And of course, we cannot outrightly monitor everything the user does. Yes, with the policies, we can control a lot of things, but some users are very inquisitive. They want to try something new. And at the point of trying something, it could be detrimental to the state of the business. So that is also a reason why we need to consider the MDR. MDR helps to give instant security operations center, which is the SOC center. So you don't have to think of setting up a SOC in your own organization before you manage the solution. And of course, it gives 24/7 threat detection and response by 365. So they work around the clock on shift. So you're not bothered about your endpoints not being checked, your network not being checked over the weekend or off your peak period. Then these people working are experts. And imagine for a business, you're already invested in SOC. And at the end of the day, an employee comes to you and tell you, oh, you know what, I got a better offer and I'm going to be leaving for this place. And trust me, before that employee stayed up to 3 years or 4 years, you had already done some investment on that person. You have already been able to train that person. The person has been able to get some certifications regarding cybersecurity. So imagine the person just leaving the organization. He leaves you at the mercy of, you need to start getting a new person. You need to start training a new person. And when it comes to cost, it is not cost effective, because you need to spend as well to train that new person you're going to be employing. And what is the assurance that that person is going to come up to speed within a speculated period of time? So it is also good to weigh those two options and see which one works best for the business. But I tell you, retaining employees is not something the business has power over. Anyone could get a better offer today and just move and switch. So it's not something we can control. But when we see that there's an option to control that, then it's good. It's something we need to think about adopting. Then for full-scale incident response capabilities, if as a business, you want to stick with the Intercept X Advanced and XDR, I want to tell you something today that not that tool alone will be used when it comes to troubleshooting. Your cybersecurity team also needs to have an understanding of many other tools that can help them to troubleshoot when it comes to knowing, for getting forensics about a particular threat or a detection. But with the MDR team, they already have a lot of tools that are integrated that they can be able to use to decipher which is bad, if it's a false positive, if it's something that is reoccurring, if it's a new threat, they can easily work on it. But how skilled are the employees? that are going to be working on those solutions. So these are things to watch out when we are actually going to be investing in cybersecurity. Then customize the level of services. So for the service, we are sure that at this point in time, Sophos will take responsibility depending on what you have set up. So if you have all your boxes ticked and everything checked, and probably there's a data breach, you have a data warranty from Sophos to ensure that even when anything happens, there's a percentage of what they are going to be taking, and you'll be fine at the end of the day. So at this juncture, I would like to draw the curtain closed, and I'll be handing over to Tolulope to take on the next. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. I'm sure it has really been an insightful session. So at this point, we'll be taking questions in the chat window. I'll quickly look through. I know we have a question from Femi. Some members of the team has responded to that, but I'd like Sandra to also give more insights on that. So when it comes to accepting cookies online, how safe is that action? So Sandra, you want to take that question?
Okay, so just like someone already responded, so there are different types of cookies that we get to see when we're working, especially over the internet. Some could be private, which is from the manufacturer or I would say the OEM, which is, for example, you're using Edge, it's Microsoft. So you have some cookies that you need to accept to enhance, to enable you go through a particular site to get access to that site. Then for the third party, maybe one that just pops up, you need to ensure that that particular thing is not a threat. So basically, the safety of cookie acceptance on a website primarily depends on how the website collects, stores, and uses those cookies, as well as its compliance with privacy regulation. So we know that for every business, there's like a privacy GDPR or NDPR or anything at all that we use as a business. So therefore, there's a need to take our time in reviewing the sites we visit before we accept any of those cookies, because they won't stop coming. And especially those sites that prevent you access if you don't accept, just know that those particular sites are not even supposed to be visited at all. Because at the end of the day, when you accept the cookie, some of your information are taken, your personal details, and it poses a threat to you as an individual. So it's just safe to say that if you do not trust the website yourself, and if you do not trust the legitimacy of that particular website, do not accept. It is advisable to only accept cookies from organizations that comply with standard bodies. So that's just the 2 cents from me. Thank you, Tolulope.
Yeah, thank you, Sandra. Another question we have, but just before I take that, I'd like to remind you all that you get to schedule a complimentary organization-wide cybersecurity awareness training. I'm sure you heard Sandra and Zibo emphasizing how important it is for everyone within your team to be on the same page when it comes to how they share sensitive information, how they expose their credentials to third party, their endpoints, their devices. So we are giving you that opportunity because you are on this webinar. So do feel free to click on the link for scheduling that free session as well. Then going back to the next question, that is from Anslem. He said, can Sophos work effectively with Bit Defender Gravity Zone XDR? I know for sure that Bit Defender do require me to uninstall other malware protection before installation. So would have Zibo respond to that. I know we've gotten some response in the chat window already. So Zibo would speak to it briefly as well.
Thank you, Tolu. Yes, as Mr. Victor has mentioned, yes, XDR can, the sensor that is, can coexist with the Big Defender XDR, and you'll actually be able to benefit from the Sophos ends of you actually be able to benefit from the seamless integration with the XDR sensor from Sophos XDR, and also benefit from the Sophos's extended response and detection services as well. So yes, it can. I hope that answers your question.
Kindly indicate in the chat window if we've done justice to that question. Thank you, Zibo. So moving on, moving on, we'll quickly look at some of the polls that we reacted to as well in the chat window, pending when we get more questions. We are just about to wrap the session off, but we still have the opinion that some people are actually coming up with their question. So we have a poll that speaks to AI tools. With the rise of AI currently, everyone is probably using ChatGPT or Google Bard to do productive work. I'd like Sandra to speak to how this increases the attack surface when it comes to data on privacy. Is there anything they should even be aware of when they are using these tools? Hi, Sandra.
So to answer the question, like I mentioned, whatever has a pro has a con. And for AI, there's something that came up recently, Warm GPT. So it's like the reverse of the ChatGPT. And when we talk about data privacy protection and everything when it comes to AI, we know that AI basically is for analyzing data, for processing data, automation, and every other thing you can think of. So you cannot take out you cannot take out data protection or data privacy from cyber threats. So they work hand in hand. They coexist, more like one cannot exist without the other. If there's no threat, there won't be a need to protect our data. If it was safe every time we work, we won't have a need for endpoint protection, we won't have a need for network protection, firewall. So pretty much it is safe for us to just know that whenever it is you're working, there's always someone in the middle, a middleman person, man in the middle attack. Someone is there behind your network or behind the OEM's network, behind edge. Somebody is there trying to make sure that they can steal credential from you. They can harvest your credential, meaning if you make a mistake of putting on something sensitive, then it can be used against you. So I was in a discussion with a colleague sometimes in the middle of the week, and we were talking. Then she mentioned that she was using ChatGPT one day and she got a prompt that she shouldn't put up her sensitive information on that platform. So imagine she did not turn on a notification. She did not take note of that particular prompt. At that point in time, maybe she would have just been able to say, oh, I want to carry out a birthday for probably a loved one, for example. The person was born on this date, on this year, and I need to plan a surprise. The person address is this. What do you want me to do? How do you want me to surprise the person? Of course, it is something ChatGPT will do for us. It helps us with proposals, it helps us with presentations. So there's pretty much everything it would do for us. So imagine she put up those information, not knowing that she got an information that she shouldn't put up a sensitive information. Just agree with me that that particular data she's providing at that point in time is going to be sent into another server. It is going to be stored somewhere that one of these days it will come up to you as a prompt and you would be shocked at what you see. And sometimes there are many applications that we use that are integrated to the ChatGPT, for example. I'll give Facebook for an instance. I'm a game lover. Like I play games so much on my mobile and on my laptop. And I notice that many times I get the prompt to sign on with my Facebook account, to sign on with Instagram, Twitter, or any other account. So many times I sign on. And the next thing, I'm like, oh, really, signing on? I tried it one day, I had to sign on. Then at the end of the day, I figured that most of my information, all my data that I put up on that game was able to get displayed on Facebook. More like I had it synced to my Facebook. So I was wondering, last signed in, activity carried out. How did this happen? When did this happen? So I recall that it was the game I signed on with. And not just that, on those my games that I love to play, many times I need to put in my my card details to be able to get some points and some things that makes the game so juicy. But I've never done that anyways. But imagine I provide such information. My card details is also going to be stored somewhere else. And someone is using it against me. The next time I'm like, oh, I'm getting debited. What is happening? I didn't use my card for any transaction, but I have done something somewhere that I didn't take note of. So it's safe to say that whenever it is we're using ChatGPT and every other bot that we can think of, it just know that there's someone behind wanting to steal something very crucial, very sensitive to you, and it can be used against you at the end of the day. So we just need to ensure data privacy, data security at every point in time. Only do the things that you know that when you do them, even if it's out there, you don't have an issues with it. So I hope I've been able to throw light on that question, Tolulope. Thank you very much.
Yes, you did well with it. And if there's nothing you have taken out from all what Sandra said, just keep in mind that always be aware of the middleman when you're accessing browsers and all. So we have more questions in the chat window. We have one from Mary Jane. She said, please, in downloading documents from office emails, Are we safe? And how can we be protected? How can it be monitored safely? How can it be monitored for safety? So I'll have Zibo respond to this question. How can people be secured when downloading documents from office emails?
Thank you very much. In this regard, you actually have numerous features from Sophos, which actually has email protection, which is a service which protects your organization from any different types of malware, which could be sent via email, or any type of particular unsavory applications or threat factors which could be sent to your organization via email. So we actually have Sophos email, which deals specifically with protecting your email. And the Microsoft also offers variable other types of email solutions. But Sophos email is a leading email protection application or service. So I definitely recommend you looking at that.
Thank you, Zibo. So we have another question from Benjamin. I can see there's a response to that already. Is the Sophos MDR an independent product, or must it work with the XDR? So we have a response from Victor. Victor says MDR comes with your XDR. So I guess that is clear. Next, we move on to Mary Jane's question. How do we handle phishing emails? What are the identifying factors so we can be alert in eliminating such emails in our inbox? I'll have Sandra respond to this. How can employees handle phishing emails? And what are the identifying factors? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So for every email that we get, we need to take note of the header. We need to take note of the sender organization, such that you're supposed to be getting an email from me, Sandra at RelianceInfosystems.com, and you realize that on my Sandra, the A, it's not the normal A that you're used to. Probably is the @ symbol. So you should know that that particular email is from the wrong sender and it is compromised. So those are things that you need to look out for as just a normal user, not a super user. So the header has to be taken note of. The sender of the email has to be taken note of. Then the subject of the email as well. So the thing is, most phishing email that happens actually comes as a matter of urgency. You see someone sending you an email that, oh, I need you to quickly respond to this. Like there's a financials going on and you need to provide this, you need to do that. So you should sit back, take your time, relax and look at it. Am I really expecting something? If I'm not expecting something, then you need to verify from whoever it is that sends it, provided you can see the email there of the sender. And if it's the email you're not sure of, then just ignore it and report that to your IT team. Then the IT team knows how to go about investigating. Then sometimes those email comes with link. You see a link on the email. Why should you have a link on an email? It should be something personal. Like what I do most times, if I'm going to be sending a link to someone, probably I need you to fill up something. I prompt you on email, do this particular thing. I need your help on this. And when we get talking, you know that, oh, this is me to you, you're sure. Then I could send a link to you and you know that that link is coming directly from me because maybe you can see me over a video or you talk to me audio and you can recognize my voice. It's not tweaks like AI. AI does that anyways nowadays. So pretty much we need to check the header. We need to check the subject and we need to also check out for links that are on that particular mail. And the most important thing, like I said, we cannot have so much of investment done on endpoints, on firewall, on email protection, on encryption. And at the end of the day, our users are not sensitized. There has to be a plan for users, a cybersecurity awareness training, quarterly, if possible, for users. So we are sure that at every point in time, we run a simulation campaign. We run we run a simulation for the users, whereby we know we tend to get our users' posture when it comes to cybersecurity, when it comes to attending to threat and responding to threat. So we are going to be able to see the users that fell for an attack, users that did not fall for it, users that are already aware. So with that constant training, I am very sure that everyone in the organization will be able to identify and respond well to phishing email. So like I'll just have a recap of it. The header of the email has to be checked. The sender of the email, very, very, very important. The domain has to be verified. You need to be sure it is who you're expecting an email from. And if it's not who it is that you think, you can have a verification done. And the body of the email, look out for links. some links are not links that are supposed to be clickable. So you need to check. And to wrap it up, you report to your IT team and the IT takes care of it. So I'll be handing over now to you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Sandra. I think we would have to speed things up at this point. We are getting more questions. I can see that Benjamin is requesting for the pricing. We would send an email. Thank you for dropping yours as well in the chat window. Then Mary Jane is asking, how do we ensure our endpoint is protected? How do you ensure end protection for your endpoint? I think that would be the last question. Okay, we have one more. So we take two more questions and then we can wrap up. So Zibo, can you go ahead with that question? How do we ensure our endpoints are protected?
Thank you, Tolu. In particular, speaking to that aspect of endpoint protection, the best way to keep your endpoint protected is to ensure that you have an endpoint protection software or application on your endpoint. That could be your mobile device if you're using mobile devices for work, or your laptop, servers, and the likes. And one of the best, and I dare say the best endpoint protection solution available out there is actually Sophos XDR. So I definitely recommend implementing Sophos XDR to protect your endpoints, as well as the numerous features it offers in terms of being able to respond immediately to any threats that are occurring within your environment. So that added response feature is actually very, very nice, and it allows you to actually be quick in your response to any threats. So for sure, that's something that you have to look into. Thank you.
All right, Zibo. Then finally, we have a comment from Lusandro. I hope I pronounced that name correctly. I suggest an auditing of network infrastructure or auditing in information security can help you or your business to be safe. So I guess this is the response to a question by Mary Jane, right? So he's asking for opinions. Actually, with all of these services are what we are willing to provide when it comes to auditing your current infrastructure, when it comes to auditing your environments and ensuring optimal security. And that is why if you would understand what we've been emphasizing all through the session, there's been a lot of emphasis on having everyone internally, in the loop of cybersecurity awareness, as well as having a health check. We also offer health check as well for organizations that are interested. So you can as well use that booking link to also have a schedule with us for an health check if that is a priority for your organization. So at this point, I would say we would be concluding the webinar. Thank you everyone for your time. Once again, don't forget to click on this the booking link to have your complimentary cybersecurity awareness training. So thank you for your time. And for those requesting for the recording, yes, in as much as you registered for this webinar, you definitely get the recording after the session, as well as some shareable materials that you can, pass along to decision makers within your organization. Have a wonderful day. We hope to have more engagements with you across other platforms as well. We are very active on social media. We are also very active on LinkedIn. And just before we say our goodbyes, we also want to get your feedback on your experience all through the session. So we have a feedback form link that is dropped in the chat window as well. Tell us your experience so that we can be better when we engage with you in the future as well. So thank you once again. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye, everyone.